Hello and welcome everybody. Welcome to Edukemy's YouTube channel. My name is Harsh and in this video we shall discuss the feature news of today on Sample Registration System Report of 2021. This report is of 2021 yet presents the data of the year 2019. That is how the report is prepared. So in this feature news we will understand what are the indicators used in SRS report, how is the report prepared, how the sampling is done, what is the way in which the recall is done, and we will also understand important updates of this report itself, right? So Amlan, Kriti, Ashish, Bhabani, Netra, Pooja, Hima, Kim, welcome all of you. Hi Tiasha. Pooja, the question that you have posed, that is about how to be able to prepare notes in a better manner. See Pooja, effort though one will have to put in the beginning, there is no denying that. But slowly and steadily, when in 1 month's time, you will see that the content that you're writing for your notes, it will get reduced. It will also get reduced when you have more experience in preparation, because with more experience, you will have more of the words that are UPSC specific, more of the phrases that are UPSC specific. And this will reduce the amount of vocabulary or the content that is needed, extra words needed to write down your notes. You will only start using important words. And when you're speaking of the highlighted content of the gazette, it is not necessary that all the highlighted content need be a part of your notes. It is up to you. What you think you can remember, you need not write down as notes. What you think is important and you cannot remember, you must put it down. Only words, not sentences, only words have to be put in, right? So this is how, but Pooja, you cannot be saying that I am not able to make notes. I agree with the fact that you are able to make notes and it is taking time. I agree with that. But then if you're not able to do it at all, then I think some, extra effort is required, extra support is required. So every time, you have to ask here, you have to ask us what to do, how to help it, how to help about this process. And somebody or other will jump in and they will assist you. And you will have to put in some effort, no denying that, maybe 1 hour to begin with. But slowly and steadily, 1 minute per article, 1 minute per article, not more than that. That's what is required, right? And this is not unachievable. This should be achievable easily in a matter of maybe 2 or 3 months maximum. That 1 minute per article, this is what you should take to prepare your notes. All right. So let's begin this feature news, Sample Registration System Report. All right. This is the most vital report that is produced by the government at an annual level, and this report is also complemented by other reports, for example civil registration survey, and then we have decennial census once conducted in 10 years, and then we have NFHS survey as well. Each of them have their shortcomings, but the most credible report is sample registration survey report. Along with that, this report also in a way complements other reports also. We will understand that. But before that, let me talk something about the report itself. The report's first page. Oh, by the way, this is a 400-page report. I have taken out the most important parts of this report so that I can share it with you here, right? And the first page itself says Sample Registration System SRS Statistical Report 2019, right? Available in the year 2022 because of pandemic. Also, it got delayed, right? But 19 data and shown in 2022, and this report is presented by which ministry? You might feel that this is Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. No, it is not so. It is the Office of Census Commissioner, right? Registrar General and Census Commissioner, the same officer, and under Ministry of Home Affairs. So this report is presented by Ministry of Home Affairs. This is important data for pre-examination. Along with that, a lot of content that we study here, they could be used in pre-examination. Let's start off. Now, the first page of the report itself, the preface says, I would like to read this part out. It says that this report contains estimates of various demographic indicators, fertility, mortality indicators based on region, based on state, based on urban, rural data, based on the age group in which people are, right? So this largely talks about the demographic indicators, which also are segregated with the help of social indicators, education standards, where people are living, what is the economic well-being of them, right? And this data is presented by Office of Registrar General and Census Commissioner, same officer under Ministry of Home Affairs, right? Also provides other data like death rate, infant mortality rate, under 5 mortality, age specific death rate, neonatal mortality rate. We will understand each of them, right? Mean age at effective marriage for females, right? Interval between current and previous birth. All these data are provided by this report. See, availability of this data is very important for the government. When the data is available, we will be able to gauge if the progress is being made in health indicators or not. And this is how the government will be able to run its future programs. This will also provide boost to those people who are working in national health improvement, because when there is an improvement, the fruits of the labor will show up and people will understand that their work has paid off. So government needs to know, the NGOs need to know where to work, how to work, and this is why this report is important, right? This report is prepared at in quite a way. Let me show you how this report is prepared. This method, the method of preparing this report, it includes two ways in which the report is prepared. First is the field level investigation, in which a person goes around and conducts these kind of surveys from people one to one. And then the second one is the retrospective full-time supervisor, who conducts a supervisory retrospective level survey every 6 months. Every 6 months, and this person does this at a regular level, and this is why it is called as a dual record system. Dual record. The first record is maintained by field investigation, and the second is maintained through retrospective supervisor, right? And this is how this report is prepared, right? That is why it is called as the dual record system report. All right, so this is what you should remember. What else about this report is that let's get into the data of this report, right? So first of all, the report spoke of some important definitions. I have shared this definition with you, quite a few definitions, but I just want you to revise all these definitions for once, just for once, and in 2 minutes we'll be able to cover each of them. I hope so. So it says crude birth rate. Crude birth rate is the birth rate, is the number of live births per mid-year population, right? It's conducted every 6 months. So mid-year population, that means the total population into 1000. Into 1000 is done, and this is how we see, the population. This is how we see, the number of live births per 1000 population. So this is why it is multiplied with 1000, right? If it is not multiplied with 1000, then the data will be in 0.020, something like this. And right now, when it is multiplied by 1000, the data is like 20. So this is a far better, indicator which can be memorized. That is why multiplied with 1000. All right. Similarly, age specific fertility rate, general fertility rate. Now, when fertility rate is calculated, it is calculated in 7 age brackets. 7 age brackets of 5 year each. 15 to 19 age bracket, 19 to 24 age bracket, and this is done until the age of 45 to 49. Right? So 7 age brackets of 5 year each, age specific, and total fertility rate as well, right? Total fertility rate. The total fertility rate means children per women. How many children does one woman have? In India, the TFR right now is 2.1. Is 2.1. Every woman would have 2.1 children, at an average 1 female child, and at an average one male child also, right? So this is what it is called as. Gross reproduction rate, total crude death rate. There are some complex data as well, in case this should not come in the examination, and this is not even spoken of in the general parameters, so we will not discuss them. What else? Yes, this is some more important data. So age specific mortality rate. Age specific mortality rate. When mortality rate is calculated, mortality is for various age categories. So under 5 is called as CMR, child mortality rate, or under 5 mortality rate, right? It is expressed as the number of child death per live birth into 1000, right? Under 5. And then we have under 1 age mortality rate, which is called as infant mortality rate, IMR. And under 1 age also we have quite a few segregations. So when we see 5, under 1, under 5, under 1 are various categories. For example, one is neonatal mortality rate. Neonatal mortality rate. And the other one is the regular infant mortality rate. In neonatal, 1 month child, that means 4 weeks child is seen, right? If the child is up to 4 weeks, it comes under neonatal mortality rate. And if the child is between 4 weeks until 1 year, this is seen under infant mortality. Infant mortality will include both of them, right? If seen under these neonatal mortality rate, that means under 4 weeks, there are two categories here again, right? One category is there for 1 week child, and the other category is there for 1 week to 4 week child, right? This is represented through late neonatal mortality rate, late neonatal mortality rate, and the other one is represented through post neonatal mortality rate. Post, number of infant deaths. So this is post neonatal mortality rate. Post neonatal mortality rate, 4 weeks to 1 year. There was a confusion from my end here. Post neonatal mortality rate, right? And there is something called as perinatal mortality rate. This is about the number of stillbirths and infant deaths up to the 1 week, right? Stillbirth and up to 1 week, right? So this is how the segregation of birth and death is calculated. See, there is a reason why this segregation is done. I would like to quickly repeat all this. Under 5 age category, there are two categories. One is under 1 and just the other one is under 5. Under 1 is called as infant mortality rate. In this, if a child dies within the age of 1 year of their birth, this is further segregated in 1 month and more than 1 month. 1 month child is called as neonatal, up to 1 month. And neonatal is also divided in two categories. One category is early, late neonatal, and the other one is called as perinatal mortality. Perinatal is stillbirth of a child, right? Stillbirth is, so there is an important difference between what is stillbirth and what is the other one is called as, do people remember the other word? There's something called as stillbirth and there is something called as miscarriage. Yes. So stillbirth are those births of a death child, the child being dead after 20 weeks of their survival, right? That means as a fetus. And the other one is called as miscarriage, less than 20 weeks. Less than 20 weeks, the child's specialized organs are not formed. This is called as miscarriage. Stillbirth is above 20 weeks. So above 20 weeks until the first week of birth, this is called as perinatal mortality, right? And why are these calculated? Why are these calculated at different ways? Is because the child's vulnerability at smaller age is very different. I don't know, you people are able to see all this? I don't know how come. Just a bit, please. I hope you guys are not able to view this NF watch stream. Just a bit, please. Oh, spammed. Is any of the messages visible from this NF watch streams? Oh, you'd like me to zoom this? I'll just zoom it. This is what is called as denial of service. When you people, just a bit, when you people have been, no name, okay, only name is there, okay, great enough, thank you. See, this is what is called as denial of service. When you people are interacting with me, you would like to receive a service from my end and you are not able to receive this service just because somebody is spamming us here. And I have just seen there are quite a few the links, maybe not less than 15-20 links, right? So somebody trying to spam here. All right, you want me to zoom this, so have a look. The age specific category has been purposefully put. The reason has been this, that in the most vulnerable age group of the small children, the vulnerability to death is far more than when the child grows up. I would like to show this to you. So first of all, you people can take a screenshot in case you want to. This is one of the images, and there are only 2 pages in which they have defined these terms, 1 and 2, right? The ones that I have discussed are the ones which are popular and they are usually found and asked, right? So these are the 2. Now you see the crude birth rate at different age categories is different, right? And they have discussed this in rural and urban India and total, right? So this is how they have segregated the birth and the fertility indicators. Oh, let me show this part to you. Yes, mortality indicators. See, the crude death rate is 6 overall in India, but in rural part it is 6.5 deaths per 1000 population, per 1000 live births. Percent of infant deaths of total deaths, of the total death that happened, what is the number of deaths that happened for the children less than 1 year? It is around 10%. 11% in rural areas and 7% in urban areas. Percentage of deaths of less than 1 week of total infant death. Out of the infant death, the children who are dying who are very small, that is perinatal, it is around 55%. So if a child is up to 1 year and there is death happening of this particular child, half the children are of 1 week. Imagine this. And this is the reason that it is said that the neonatal must be taken care of intensively. Keep them in ICU, keep them away from the general population. Don't make them go in the regular crowds, right? Percentage of deaths of less than 1 week of total infant death. I am not stating this. SRS report states this. 55% of deaths. And urban areas also 46% deaths. This is what indicates or tells that one should keep the small children away from any kind of infection. Under 5 mortality rate, 35. Under 5, 35 children are dying. Out of the 35 children who are dying among 1000 born, you see infant mortality is 30. That means 30 children are dying in the age up to 1 and 5 more children are only dying up to the age of 5. Only 5 more. That means vulnerability is more in the first year. And in this first year also vulnerability is 50% plus in 1 week category. This is what is indicated through early, late and post-neo or perinatal mortality rate, right? This is what I wanted to show, and that is why this definition was important for you people. They might not ask the data, but they might as well ask the meanings of these concepts, right? So getting back to where we were, the first part of this article speaks about percentage distribution of population by broad age groups and percentage distribution of the population. You would say, "Arey, ye to census ka part hai." See, census is done once in 10 years, but this is carried out the whole year, right? So there are 2 parts, as I said. One is the field level survey by one person, going enumeration to one by one person, and the second is 6 monthly repetition of this enumeration to confirm the data that was presented in the first level. So every 6 months they would present the whole data, and then in 1 year time the report is presented. The report will be carried out not with everybody but through various regions, right? Diverse crowd of people, rural, urban, literate, illiterate, all parts of the country, and this is how the report will be created, right? So this is sample registration system. Remember, the sample size of this survey is actually the largest in the whole world. Around 8 million plus people are looked at this survey when the survey is carried out, right? So when you see the percentage distribution of population by broad age categories, we have up to the age of 14, 25% of India's population. The working age population 15 to 59 is 66%, and then 60 plus population is 8.1. A small analysis of this is that if you see the data from the past SRS reports, the age bracket in 60 plus category, the proportion of people have increased because of availability of health facilities, because of availability of silver economy, increasing age, increasing the longevity of people. The age group 60 plus population has increased. India has also seen a rise in the mid-age population, working age population. However, the younger population is now getting reduced. How younger population 0 to 14 is slowly getting reduced. It shows that there is lesser younger population now in India than before. Let me show this to you through this particular image. This is a very important age structure image, right? This is the proportion of people who are elder. If you look at this, the countries like Japan will have a higher elder age population. So low base and higher age group will have more population, right? Females and males. On the other hand, India has got a wider mid-age population category, right? If you look at the African population, the mid-age population age will be wider. The lower age will be the widest, because here the birth rate, effective birth rate is high. This is African countries, these are the developed countries. This is where India stands, where the mid population is high. Slowly and steadily, the number of people who are young, they are getting reduced because of lesser birth. 2.1 is the TFR of India. I hope you understand what I am speaking of, right? So this is one part of this this report. So this is what you should remember. Crude birth rate in India is 19.7. Fertility rate in India is 2.1. Higher in rural areas 2.3, rural and urban areas it is 1.7, right? So urban areas show more decrease in the fertility, right? Okay, the mean age at effective marriage for females, 22 years mean age for marriage in India, right? Total fertility rate, literacy level and the illiteracy level. See, if the female is literate, the tendency to have number of children would be less. It indicates, see, this is rural population, this is urban population, and you can see if the lady is illiterate, she would have the total fertility rate of 3. Whereas if she is illiterate and also in urban area, the tendency to have number of children would be less, again 2.1. See, if she is literate and she is in rural area, again the tendency to have more children will be less. And with the level of education, the literacy rate, the TFR only drops. Have a look. If she is graduate, the tendency to have a child is only 1.6, right? On the other hand, if she is illiterate, the tendency to have a child is 3 children per female. So very much education is an indicator. This is the reason that when the ads for campaigns are released by the government, they say we have to educate the masses. Ashish says, please define crude death and birth rate again. Life expectancy in Africa. All right. See, crude death and birth rate are the total number of births happening in that particular area divided by the total population at that particular place, total population into 1000. So birth by total population into 1000. Death by total population into 1000. And then when you want to look at the effective growth rate of population, death minus birth. So death rate always needs to be lesser than the birth rate in case the population is growing with time. We will come to see that. Crude birth rate is 19.7 in India. Yes. And crude death rate is 6 in India. The death rate is higher in rural areas, lesser in urban areas. That means urban areas have got some provisions or have got education, literacy, finances enough to be able to have lesser of these hurting parameters for the country. That's what I wanted to share with you, right? Percentage distribution of current live births by birth intervals. See, what is the level of birth interval when the family is getting created, family planning. So 50% of the population in India has got 36 months of birth difference between children, which is a very good level of difference that one should have, right? Do remember the difference between stillbirth and miscarriage? 20 weeks and above is stillbirth, before that is miscarriage. This is also an indicator which speaks of the distribution of hospitals or taken, the effort that hospital has taken in during the birth in total India or rural India or urban India, right? So government hospitals medical attention at delivery is 55%, private hospitals 30%, and then professional aid and other kind of delivery is rest of the 20%. And when you see the kind of deaths that happen in these kind of institutions, a lot of deaths happen in government institutions, and even more qualified professionals, number of deaths is far higher in qualified professionals, and that is why we say go for institutional delivery with hospitals, not qualified professionals but hospitals. You can very well see the data here. Government hospitals, the proportion of death is 30%, private hospitals 20%, qualified professionals 33%, and untrained functionaries 20%. See, when you also see the distribution network of these hospitals or institutional, uninstitutional aids for people, getting children delivered in rural areas and in urban areas, you see the disparity here. Private hospital aids almost 40% in urban areas, and it is only 24% in rural areas. Lot of data, you can analyze a lot of it. So I have shown you some quick analysis. That's what I wanted to show you, and this is what is the quick summary also. When the report is presented in 400 pages, there is a part of the report which says that this is the important component, and that is why they have colored it also. That's what I have shown you, right? Some definitions, some important parts that needed to be shown. You should remember what? You should remember the crude death rate, crude birth rate. You should remember this kind of distinction. Nobody will be able to analyze. Nobody wants to analyze such deeper details. But then if you know this, because the reports are written, newspaper articles are written on this basis only. And I am showing you the, the crude form of it so that you are able to distinguish between these kind of, data that has been presented. And one important thing that you should see, the sex ratio at birth is always it is always lesser for females than males. There is a natural tendency to select a male child because of some biological factors, right? There is more death, or there is lesser, or there is more tendency to have male child at the birth times, right? And this is shown through this graph itself, right? So you can see there is an increase in sex ratio at birth right now. Increase in sex ratio at birth in rural and urban areas, but largely it remains within 1000. So 1000 males and then around 950 females being born, right? Some analysis that has been presented in the report itself, crude birth rate at national level was 19.7. I had showed you this, right? The maximum in Bihar, maximum births happening in Bihar 25.8, and minimum in Kerala per 1000 children, right? Per 1000 population, per 1000 population, right? And this has only been in decline. Crude birth rate has been in decline. Crude death rate also has been in decline. It is right now 6, and it has declined in in the last 20 years as well, right? What else? Infant mortality rate right now has come to 30. Infant mortality, please remember this, right? To 30 from 39 in 2014, right? So decline. Despite this data is something that you should remember. 1 in every 33 infants in national level, 29 infants in rural areas, and 1 in every 50 infants in urban areas still die within 1 year. That is infant mortality. All right. Total fertility rate, you people know it is 2.1. Sex ratio at birth for country is 904. Please remember this. Sex ratio at birth is 904. 904 females born for 1000 males born. All right, biological reasons for this, right? What else? 83% live births, mothers have received medical attention at government or private hospitals, and this is almost same the last year as well, right? All right, what else? Methods calculated, and one important thing here which I had shared with you people, the percentage distribution of population. The percentage distribution of population in the country is such that 66% of the total population of the country is in the age bracket 15 to 59. All right, and this population is on the rise. The working age population, the young population is declining. The elder population is also rising in the country. All right, population structure shown, and that is one important component of the report already looked at. All right, what else? So Hima says, in many of the traditional culture, they follow postpartum confinement, where mother and child both are kept indoors away from everyone for around a month. Okay, nice. Nice. Thank you for sharing this. See, this is reflected through this data also, no? This reverse engineers the data. If you keep the children in confinement post 1 month, this is how we'll have more lesser deaths, lesser infant deaths immediately after birth. So 50% of infant death, they happen in first 1 month only. Such an important indicator. And this is an indicator which has been understood through empirical analysis, empirical service, and government starts its ad campaigns, starts its projects for helping health systems through the help of these kind of data, right? So let's understand what is SRS system and how it is different from other systems. Sample registration system, decennial census, then we have civil registration system and national family health survey systems, right? So when we have national family health survey, this is conducted every 3-4 years. This is only 6th survey that happened last, which we have been discussing. It happened in the year 2021. Whereas SRS happens every year. Census happens only in 10 years. And the civil registration system, it happens at district levels in larger cities, not in smaller areas. But when you look at SRS, it happens at pan-India level. One of the largest service, in fact, the largest survey conducted of its kind around the whole world, right? Sample registration system survey. And all of these surveys should be indicative of similar data. See, if census data is taken care of only once in 10 years, there'll be a dramatic shift in any parameter, right? If you look at the maternal mortality rate or child mortality rate, if it is 30 right now, it must have been 48 or 50 a decade back. So this huge shift in the child mortality or infant mortality that we see, this will be noted at very small levels through the annual SRS. And annual SRS will be indicative of the fact that census data is also, they are counter-proving each other. This is the reason that we have SRS survey, and that is why it is considered as the most valuable survey that is carried out for the whole country. All of them released by the same entity. All right, Registrar General of India. Oh, all first 3 released by Registrar General and the 4th one released by Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Yes, that is absolutely true. NFHS released by Ministry of Family and Health, Ministry of Family and Health, Family Welfare and Health. All right. So this is the update here. Some major findings, some of the findings which I have shared, they're not present in this particular analysis. So note down from that particular aspect, and sharing some of the more analysis here. Gradual decline in share of population in the age group 14 up to 14 at 25% from 41%. See, 50 years and you see the decline in the youth, the young population, right? Economically active population has increased. The mid-age population has increased. What else? On account of better education, health facilities, and an increase in life expectancy that Pooja shared, we have had more people in 60 plus age population. In 71, 50 years back, it was 5.3. Now it is 8% of elder population. There have been some regional variations. For example, the youngest states have been Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Jharkhand. Why? More population growth in these states, more birth rate in these states. Number of women married before 21 is declining. Okay, good change, good change. Birth rate is on decline. Okay, so there has been a decline of 33% in the last 30 years. Sex ratio at birth for the country has gone up 5 points to 904. All right, total fertility rate declining from 2.2 to 2.1 right now. Right, mortality rate in India has declined. Crude death rate in the country has gone down. The best performing state is Delhi because of urban facilities. Right, child mortality rate have also decreased, which is a good indicator. But then, though child mortality has decreased, what is the level of nutrition? Nutrition indicator is not present here. Nutrition indicator is present through National Family Health Survey, and that is where we see we lack a lot. We need to perform far better now, right? We are able to save the children of death, but are we able to save them through from the perils of malnutrition? Not as much right now. So medical care has improved, right? These are the quick summary and analysis of today's feature news, that is on the SRS sample registration system report. All right. So what did we study today? We understood what is SRS report and how is it different from other surveys. For example, NFHS, for example, census. What is the way in which this report is carried out? This is called as the dual reporting system, no? Dual reporting. How is it carried out? What is the need for a report like this, annual survey like this? It helps when people understand what should be the policy for the governments, what should be the effort put at different places, urban, rural areas, education parameters for people who need medical attention. This report also is an indicator of the performance of governance at local levels, right? Urban, rural, and different areas of the country, right? We also understood some important indicators like infant mortality rate, what is the definition of all these terms, IMR, and various other parameters. We also understood the data that is present with respect to all these parameters. We also understood the analysis of them, a quick analysis of all this data. Getting into this report will be futile, 400-page report. This is a quick summary of all the major parts of this report. So this is how we understand this report in totality, right? If there are questions, please post them. If you find this video good enough, show some love through likes, comments and shares. And I do remember the questions that you people had, that you people have posted, and I will look into each of them and I'll serve you through those questions, right? So if there are doubts, questions, please post them in the comment section so that we are able to help you, right? And until then, prepare well, study well. Pooja and everybody else, try preparing notes, very important. And we will meet you tomorrow for current affairs, tomorrow evening 6 o'clock. All right, thank you and good night.